What I'm going to do here in this video is create the reducer and action for creating a new category. So let's go ahead and create the constant, and I'm going to open up my category constants file, copy this here, paste, and I'm going to call this constant create category. Then we're going to go to our reducer. Let me mark this off here. Go to our reducers and open up the category reducers. Add our constant at the top, create category, and we are going to add another case here for case create category, and then we're going to return. All right, we're going to do categories. This is going to be slightly different from what we've been doing. So we know that the initial state is we have categories that is an array. So, and by the way, let me go ahead and spread out whatever is currently in the state here. So what we're going to do is categories is where we're going to make the adjustment at. So we are going to create the array here, and then within this array, I'm going to spread out whatever's currently in the state dot categories. So whatever is currently categories that would be inside here, if there are any, spread that out, and then the category that we are creating in the moment, we are going to add it thereafter at the very end. So we can do that with it's going to be the action.payload. All right, so that would be the response we get back from the server using Axios. That is the action payload value. Okay, so that would be it for that. All right, I'm going to save. And mark this off here. Next thing is creating the action. All right, so open up this file here, and as I mentioned before, a lot of this stuff is repetitive because that's really Redux. There is this workflow to it. So here we go. Let's go ahead and import this constant. Not from there. I'm going to import it from here and create category. All right. Now, let's see. I'm going to copy this here, this function, and below it, I'm going to paste and delete all this here and all this here. So essentially I have, yeah, all right, just like so. And then I'm going to, instead of get categories, I'm going to call it create category. And we are going to get an argument of the form data. And then it's going to be a synchronous function with dispatch. So the first thing we're going to do within our try block, I'm going to dispatch. I'm going to do a dispatch with type of start loading. And then here's where we're going to make our, wait, actually, should I do it here? Actually, right before the dispatch, I'm going to set up our config. That's the config, which is going to be used by Axios. So there's going to be an object, and then we're going to have headers, which is going to be an object. And then I'm going to do, let's see, content type. Content type application / JSON. Actually, no, it's like this. Yeah, what am I doing? Oh, why am I blanking out right now? Okay, so this is a header, is content type. Application JSON. It's gonna be an empty string. All right, just like so. Good. All right, so we got our config here, and that's what we're going to be using for Axios. So let's go ahead and set up our Axios, and it's going to return a response. So I'm going to do a wait Axios. It's going to be a post request, and then the URL or the endpoint on the back end, which is going to be API category, and then we're going to pass in our form data. That's this thing right here that we're going to be receiving, and then the third argument is going to be the config. Okay, great. And I'm going to remove this from here, delete, and right before the response I'm going to paste that. So before the Axios request, we're going to have to start loading, and then right after it we're going to stop the loading. So change this to stop loading. And what are we getting back from the category? So let me open up my controller on the back end. So within the controllers, open up our category file, and this is the controller for creating a new category. And let's take a look at what we're returning from the back end. So we're returning a success message, but I'm also gonna want to bring in or return to the front, to the client, back the category, which is the new category. That's this thing right here. So once we save it into the database, the database is going to return the newly created document and assign it and assign it to this variable new category. And this is where we're going to bring new category and assign it to categories. So the backend is going to return two properties. All right, we got the category, the newly created category, and a success message, which is the name of the category was created. The category was created. Okay, so go ahead and save that. What is this here? Headers, content. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to close up this category file from the back end and continue here in the category actions file. So here, what else are we going to do here? I'm going to dispatch. Remember, one of the properties was called, is going to be for the message, which was success message. So I'm going to bring in this constant called show success message with the payload being that property, which is going to be from response data, and then success message. I'm going to go ahead and copy this here, and below paste, and change this other one up, and the type is going to be create category, and the payload is going to be response data, and then remember it was called category. So now we're bringing as a payload those two properties from the backend, the success message and the category, and it's gonna be used by Redux to store it in state. Okay, so now that we have that, let's see what else. All right, so over here, if there's an error in the catch, we're going to do create category API error, and then error, and then I'm going to dispatch stop loading. So I'll copy this from here, paste that there, and then the second one is I'm going to copy this here, paste this here, and there's going to be show error message with, we got a prepend error dot response data or error message. No, what am I doing? No, it's error message. Let's go ahead and double check just to make sure that was called error message. So here in the controllers, category.js file, in the creation, the catch block, this is what we're returning as a response, the property called error message. All right, so that was correct. So close that back up, and this should be it for that. All right, so now we have our action function for creating a new category. Let me go to my notes, mark this off. Let me readjust this here. All right, so the next thing is add reducer to the store. Actually I did add it to the store, but let me just double check. Let's see, did it client source Redux store.js, yeah, categories, category reducer. All right, so we've done that in the previous video. All right, so add reducer to the store, that was already done, so that's okay. As a matter of fact, let me just delete that. And then add create category and clear messages into the admin category modal. All right, so that is this thing right here. So now we're gonna make use of these action functions that we created. So the first one, let me create a comment here called Redux, indicating anything below this is Redux related. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to do an import of two things, and that's going to be coming from React Redux, and those two things are use selector, and then the other one is use dispatch. Use dispatch. All right, now these two properties here from React Redux, the use selector essentially allows us to pluck out or to grab state properties from our Redux store. Okay, the use dispatch allows us to fire off action functions from Redux. Okay, and the next thing we're gonna have to import our action functions. So the first one is, let's see, what was the first one that would, let's do clear messages, and that is coming from, let's see, we got to go back one directory and go into Redux, go into actions, and then message actions. All right, and just a reminder, this was created in the other video. And so clear messages, if we open up our actions, Redux message action, that is this thing right here. So all it does is this, it does a dispatch of type clear messages. Okay, all right, and the next thing, I'm going to copy this here, paste it below, and I'm going to plug something from Redux actions, and it was called category actions. And what's the function I want to action function I want to bring out? It was what was it called? Oh yeah, create category. Okay, let's see, what is this error here? Identify create category has already been declared. Yeah, it's referring because if you look right above, we have create category as well, and that's coming from the API category, because again, remember that now that we're using Redux, we're essentially making these API function calls from within Redux action functions, and not our API folder, which we initially did. So as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and delete that. If I go ahead and delete that, I'm gonna save, and that error goes away. Okay, so what is the next? All right, so now that I'm putting use selector, use dispatch, and our action functions, next thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna copy this comment here, paste, and I'm gonna call this comment here. I'm gonna call it Redux state properties. Yeah, Redux state properties. There we go. Or let me say Redux global state properties. I kind of like that word global because it's like saying globally available to the whole application, like the whole, like a cloud hovering over the whole application. Okay, so Redux global state properties, and then okay, all right. So next thing, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make use of useSelect. We can, the way you use useSelect is you do, let's see, here useSelect. We're gonna pluck a few things from useSelector, and the useSelector takes in an argument which is the state, and we're gonna do state dot let's see, no, we don't need loading. Actually, it's just, let's see, state dot messages. Okay, and this messages is coming from, if we open up our store.js, it's the name we gave in store.js. So here's store.js, and this is it right here. It's called messages, and that was that's the value where we have from the message reducer. Okay, so it has to match with this right here. So when we use useSelector for, say, loading, we're going to have to useSelector and then do state dot loading like this. All right, so I'm going to close that up, and let's see, going back here. All right, so we have state dot messages, and what I have is those properties that I have within our messages state, which, if we look at our reducers, category reducers, no, not categories reducer, it's the message reducer. Message reducers, there are a total of 2 properties, success message and error message. So we can, there's 2 possible properties that we can use. All right, so I'm gonna use bring both of those, success message and error message. All right, just like so. And then I'm gonna copy this here and paste it again, actually 2 times. And then this one is gonna be for the loading. So I'm gonna do state dot loading and loading. And then the final one is for, wait, let me see here. Category success message loading, category set. Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, that's it. That's all we need for that. So these properties here. So now that we're using we're using the messages from the global state and loading from the global state. These here, remember, these are the component state properties. So what I don't need this error message property from the component state, and I don't need the success message from the component state, and I don't need this loading from the component state. All we need this right here, this category, because it's specific to the component. Okay, so if I save that, all right, set error message. Okay, all right, so that's coming from, all right, so, and these right here, these are for the handle messages. I can delete both of them because we can make use of our clear messages action function. So I'm gonna delete this here and replace it with I'm gonna do dispatch, but not dispatch, dispatch, and then clear messages, clear messages with parentheses. Okay, and then you see there's another one here. This is for the handle category change, and where set error message empty string, set success message empty string. We can delete that and do the same thing. Dispatch clear messages. Go ahead and save that. Clear messages is not well, let me see something. What is this? The intent, clear messages is not exported from Redux action. Clear messages. Oh, there we go. I don't know where that came from. All right, let me delete this here. It's only clear messages. I'm gonna save. Attempt to import clear messages actions. Let me see something here. The message actions, clear messages. Oh, okay. I named it differently for some reason here. Okay. Actually, let me rename this. It's going to be clear messages, like so. It's going to be camel case. All right, just like that. All right, good. So now if I go back to the admin category, so now that's correctly spelled. Clear messages. All right. All right. All right. So the next thing is this whole thing, we can delete it altogether. The clear category, which was, we can delete that and just call our clear. No, not. It's create category, which is, and we got to dispatch it first. We're going to dispatch and then create category, and this is being called from our Redux action functions, and then pass in the data, and this data is this thing right here. And this set loading, we can delete that. So there we go. So our handle category submit is just like so, and if we save that, our dispatch is not defined. Oh, okay, dispatch is not defined. Okay, so over here in our Redux global state properties, what I'm gonna do is right over here to use dispatch. I'm gonna create a variable called dispatch, and we're gonna do use dispatch with parentheses. All right, there we go. So those errors that we had previously are gone, and now we have one error remaining. Set error message is not defined. Let me bring this window down, this console window down. All right, and that's coming from here. This set error message was specifically for our client side validation. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a component state variable for managing this here. So set error message. All right, so here at the component state properties, I'm gonna do const and set error message. Oh, not set error message. It's gonna be error message. Error message. Wait. No, I gotta do something different. Client side. Let's do client side error message. Client side, like that. Client side error message, and then the function to set it is going to be set client side set client side error message. Okay, and then do use state, and initially set it to empty string. Okay, client side error message. So what was this thing? Okay, so here, so set client side error message. set client side error set client side error message. Set client side error message. Client side error message. Set client side error message. Line 22. Client side error message. Set client side error message. If it's empty, client side error message. Client side error message is assigned a value but never used. Okay, so that's over here. So if we get an error specific to our client side, what I'm gonna do here is if client side error message, then show error message, and paste this right here. There we go. All right, so all the errors went away. Good, so that is it. So now we have everything imported, our global state properties with Redux, and removed a few of the component state properties that we don't need anymore. All right, so that's it for now. I will see you in the next video.